Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on August 9th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. So let's get into it. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. And let me just open my Forex factory. All right, so in terms of the news here, not a whole lot of news today, actually, overall. Just to keep in mind that August is like a down month in the sense that there are a lot of people are away, a lot of traders are away, and also the government is pretty much shut down. A lot of the leaders are away during the month of August on holidays. So we don't tend to actually hear a lot, or we don't get a lot of data, a lot of reports in August. So it's a low liquidity month overall across the board. So we don't tend to get, too many of these high importance type of news. But what we do have coming up here is we have RBA Governor Lau speaking. However, this one we have already earlier in the week. We had a monetary policy statement from RBA, and we have this coming up later today as well. But we already know what they said, so this will not be a surprise for the market. And then we also have the CPI year over year, which is the inflation data. So if this is missed, then that will be bad for or negative for China, and in turn will have a negative impact on Australian dollar as well as a New Zealand dollar. But other than that, tomorrow here, we have more important news coming up. And we have British pound here, GDP, monthly numbers. We have manufacturing production numbers and quarterly numbers, preliminary quarterly numbers for GDP for the British pound here. Other than that, not a ton of news here. We have Canadian employment numbers in the early New York session here. So the numbers for Canada haven't been too bad. And that's why Canadian dollar has kind of maintained its levels lately. But if we do see numbers drop, that would actually be negative for the Canadian dollar, because we'll see that it puts pressure on Bank of Canada to do something about the monetary policy, because all the other central banks are taking action. So everybody seems to be in this rush to ease the monetary policy so that they can drop their currencies, and it will put pressure on Bank of Canada to do the same. So we'll see how the numbers come out. The negative numbers will have a negative impact on the Canadian dollar. All right, so let's jump on to our charts here. We'll start off by taking a look at euro dollar. Euro dollar, yesterday we had a neutral bias on this, and we had talked about how price hadn't been able to go through to the upside, and we had looked at this level here. So we see now that price did try to go a little bit higher, but it did not break the high and then dropped from there. So now we have a bearish pin bar here. So bias for this is bearish for euro dollar today. It's gone from neutral to bearish now because we do have a nice bearish pin bar here. So looking for price to drop. In terms of our pullback, we could get a pullback into 1.1200 and then a drop from there. So bias is bearish for euro dollar. I will look for a bit of a pullback like that, and then a drop, and then a further drop. So we have this big move here that could get filled, just like this one. See how we had a big move, then price dropped, went sideways, and went and came down to fill this entire move here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, but it could take us a couple of days, potentially even into next week to do that. So we do need to be patient here, but bias is bearish, and I am looking for euro to drop. So the first target will be 1.1160, which is this support resistance level here. And then the second target here will be 1.1100. And third target being the bottom here, but that could take a few days here. So bias for euro dollar is bearish. Pound dollar here, this one is still trading in that range that we had talked about yesterday. We did see that price had dropped, but today it moved in both directions. It went up, came down, but we have an indecision candle here. So in this case, bias is neutral. It's still trading in that range, hasn't gotten out of it, and we won't really have a direction till price gets out of this range. For now, bias is neutral, and if price goes into the high, I would be looking for price to come back down, and if it goes into the bottom of this range, like it did today, I would be looking for price to come back into the range here. So that's how I'm looking to trade it. Now, if it breaks to either side, then that will change the direction. So if it breaks above the high, then we would be looking for price to go and fill this move here. But if it breaks through the bottom here, then I'd be looking for price to drop further. But for today, bias is neutral for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, this one has been bullish. This big rejection here showed us that price is not willing to move lower. So bias. So price moved up. So now our bias is bullish. However, the concern here is that we are right into the resistance here. So if price stays below the resistance, we could see it drop still. So that's what we have to be careful about. If price goes into the high of today, but doesn't break it, then price could come back down. And in that case, our direction would be to the downside. Bias will shift to the downside. But for now, bias is bullish, and I will look for price to move higher into 0.6870 level. So bullish bias here, but only if it breaks the high of today, then I'm looking for a pullback and a further move to the upside. So bullish bias, the concern will be the resistance here, and if it doesn't break the resistance, it's likely to drop. Okay, so Aussie dollar bias is bullish. Moving on to New Zealand dollar here. Here we are at an interesting point. Yesterday we had talked about how price could move higher, and it moved into our second pullback level here. Now, this inefficient move here has not been filled yet. And when we have an inefficient move like this, like we had here, it tends to get filled. So at this point, so looking at the daily chart here, bias is bullish. But as you can see, we are into a very strong support resistance level here. So bias for now is bullish, but if price does not break through today's high, then it can come back down. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind at this point. If it doesn't break today's high, which is our 0.6490 level, if it doesn't break that, it's likely to drop. But for now, bias is bullish. So if price breaks through this level, I'm looking for price to go up higher into the next area here at 0.6560 level. So bullish bias, looking for it to move higher. First target would be 0.6560 level, which is the high of this candle here. And then if it continues through this, it could go into 0.6600. Again, the word of caution here will be if it doesn't break through 0.6490, then it could reverse back down. But for now, bullish bias here for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, big move to the downside here, a nice drop here. So now we are into this support resistance level here, resistance turning into support. So we do need to be careful at this level. But overall, because of this nice bearish engulfing candle here, bias here is bearish, and I'm looking for price to drop. So we could get a pullback into this candle here, into the top of this candle, and then looking for a drop. First target here is 1.3180. So bias is bearish, and a second target would be a 1.3150. So bearish bias here for dollar CAD. Gold here, gold is bearish, but we have to be careful here with gold. So when there is uncertainty in the market, gold can go up because it's a safe haven asset. So today's candle closes bearish, this one here. So we had this big, huge move to the upside the other day because of craziness that's going on in the market. Today we saw a reaction to the downside, but then the news that came out, the comments that came out around Hawaii, that could push the gold up again because it could push the market down. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in the equity markets tomorrow. For now, this looks bearish, but I would be careful. If price does not break through the support, then this one could go back up here. So I will look for a reaction at the support level at 16.80 level. If it doesn't break through, I will look for the move higher, or it could drop into this next support resistance level at 16.60 and then go back higher. Sorry, this is not gold, this is silver. So this one could go higher. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So we have to be careful of this first level here at 16.80. So as long as it stays above that level, it could go back towards the high. If it breaks through, then I will look for a second level, which is at 16.65 here. And if it holds above, then I'm looking for a further move to the upside. So that's where we are at with our silver. Let's take a look at gold. Gold hasn't really done a whole lot today. It's still holding to the highs, and that makes me think that there's still uncertainty in the market. When there's uncertainty in the market, gold does well because it is a safe asset here. So for now, it is neutral here. Today's candle closes neutral. Overall bias is still to the upside. So at this point, we have to wait and see which way gold wants to go. If the uncertainty continues, then chances are gold is going to get more bullish here. So this is where we are. And then the next target would be 1540 here. So let's see how this one does. So for now, today's candle closes neutral. What I would look for here would be a pullback into the low of today at 1490. If it holds above, then we're looking for a further move to the upside. First target would be the high of today, which is 1510. And if it goes through that, it could go all the way into 1540. It could take, that could take a couple of days, but the bias would solidly turn into bullish bias again. So today we are looking at neutral bias for gold. Oil has been dropping for the last few days. Today we saw a bit of a move to the upside. So we do have a bullish candle close here, which means it could go higher. So I will look for a move towards 53.65 level, right into the top of this candle here. This is our next support resistance level. And if it stays below that, then we're looking for a further move to the downside. But for now, bias is slightly to the upside here, looking for a pullback into 53.65. So slightly bullish bias here for oil. Copper here, this is looking bullish. Yesterday we were looking for a move up, so we got that. And now looking for a further move to the upside. Next target is 2.60. So bias here is bullish for copper. Bitcoin is trading in a range here. So Bitcoin is actually doing something interesting. Bitcoin is becoming a safe haven asset, or it's acting like it's a safe haven asset. What that means is that we see gold go up when equity markets are down, or when there is concern or tensions in the equity markets, gold tends to go up. And we are seeing Bitcoin starting to exhibit the same type of behavior, where we are seeing Bitcoin go up when there are stresses or tensions in the market. So since the news came out, or the comments came out about Hawaii, we have seen Bitcoin actually go up. So right now, I would say this is neutral because it is trading in this range. But keep an eye on the equity markets. If equity markets start to drop, Bitcoin is likely to go up. So they are becoming inversely related now, but Bitcoin is becoming positively related to gold. So both gold and Bitcoin are acting as safe haven assets. Gold already is, we know that, but Bitcoin is doing the same thing. So just keep an eye on that. If stock markets drop tomorrow, we're likely to see Bitcoin go up as well. But for now, this is range bound. It's been range bound for the last several days here. It's just holding between 11,300 and 12,200. So just keep an eye on it. If stock markets drop, this one could break through here and it could go to the next target of 12,800. But for now, my bias is neutral for Bitcoin. Next one here, S&P 500. We saw S&P 500 go up after several days of losses here. It has been bullish. So bias here is bullish because of this big move to the upside. So have a look for a bit of a pullback into 2,900 and then a further move to the upside. First target is 2,950 and then second target would be 3020, so 3,020. So for now, bias is bullish and looking for a further recovery here for S&P 500. Now, if the comments about the Hawaii thing kind of play out and we see more retaliation out of China, that could aggravate the issues. And as a result, we could see the stock markets drop. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, which could change the course of these things. But just from technical perspective here, this looks bullish. So our first target is 2960 and then 3020. NASDAQ here, this one has also been bullish. We have seen markets recover. And as a result, we have a bullish candle close. So looking for price to move higher. So looking for it to go higher. So we have a pullback into this 76.45 level. So now looking for it to go into 78.10 would be our first target. And if it continues on, we could see it go into 79.90 or even 8,000 level here. But prior to that, the important thing will be to see if price breaks through today's high. So for all the different stock market indices here, if we do not see the price break through today's high, they could all drop because of the comments coming out from President Trump or the White House. So do keep an eye on those comments because these comments make a huge difference and they create sentiment-driven moves that do tend to move the market. But for now, just based on technicals here, bias is bullish. First target is 78.10 and then 8,000. DAX here, this is looking bullish as well. Yesterday we had a bullish candle close and now we have another bullish candle close here. So looking for it to go higher. 11,900 would be the first target. And then if it goes through this level, then we're looking at 12,050. So bias is bullish for DAX as well. But same thing, when we see tensions in the equity markets, they tend to go across the board. So if it doesn't go through that level, it could drop. So keep an eye on it. All right, next one, FTSE here. FTSE is looking bullish as well. Yesterday we had a bullish close. Today we have a bullish close here as well. So looking for it to move higher towards the top of this candle, which is 73.40 level. So bullish bias here. Next target would be 74.50 level. So bullish bias for FTSE as well. All right, Nikkei here. This one also had a bullish candle close here. So I would look for price to move further. This entire move to the downside here is getting filled here. So I will look for the price to move into 21,000. Now, again, if we don't see the break through today's high, it could drop. But otherwise, bias is bullish. And first target is 21,000. And then second target would be 21,100. So bullish bias for Nikkei as well. All right, so that's all I have. You guys have a great trading day for tomorrow, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye for now.